Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We have a full house. I see lots of teachers and parents and kids. This is a good January, man. I'd like to call to order this Henderson County Board of Education special meeting, and it's a special meeting because this is the first one of the year, and we'll have to set our list of when our dates are going to be. So you all think of it as a regular board meeting, but it's a special one. And today is January the 22nd, 2019. And if we could have just a moment of silence. We have a lot of people in our community and throughout the United States who've had a lot of sickness and a lot of things going on this winter. And so if you could just stop and keep those people in your thoughts and prayers would be nice this evening. Thank you. Is Mr. Nicholas Nixon in the house? He did not make it this evening? Oh, man. Mr. Jordan Smith, are you present? Hey, there you are. Hey, Jordan, can you stand up here and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please, sir? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Fine job. What? Oh. Okay. So we have to read that part. Selected. I can't see that. Oh, the board officers that were elected earlier this evening, because we had a special meeting earlier at 5:15, and because it was our first meeting, then we had to elect our board officers, which are chairperson, Ms. Lisa Baird, vice chair, Mr. Michael Waller, secretary, Mrs. Morgana Stanley, and treasurer, Ms. Cindy Cloutier. And the next order of business is to approve the agenda as listed. Does anyone have any changes or additions? Well, I guess we can't make additions or any changes. Hearing none, I look for a motion to approve the agenda as listed.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Tracy. Do I hear a second? Thank you, Mr. Kirk. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to student and staff recognition, Ms. Morgana.
In our audience. Tonight we want to start with our Judges Scholar, and we're focusing on our middle school students. So from South Middle School, Ken Jong was the Judges Scholar for this month. He was not able to be with us this evening. From North Middle School, we'd like to recognize Reagan Campbell from North Middle School. If she is present, could she come forward, please? There's Reagan. And also Briley Richards from Central Academy as a Judges Scholar, if you could come forward. First of all, ladies, I'd like to give you a Medal of Excellence and tell you that we appreciate your leadership, that there is a unique characteristic about you, and that's why you were chosen to be a Governor's Scholar. If Miss Becky Johnson would come forward and Mr. Anthony Black, I'm going to let them share a little bit about Reagan and Briley and why they were selected. And while they're coming forward, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us like what grade you're in, who came with you, what's your area of study. I'll give her some notes to think about.
I'm in the 8th grade. I came with my parents and my little brother. And
Favorite subject area?
probably science.
Probably science. She's a science. Briley, how about you?
I'm in the 11th grade, but I'll be graduating this May. And I came with my mom, and my favorite subject is all of them.
All of them, yeah. That's probably why Mr. Black saw you as such a great leader. Mr. Black, tell us a little bit more about Briley.
Well, Briley is an excellent student. You know, a lot of our kids at Central Academy go through difficult situations and circumstances, but seeing Briley every day, going through her circumstances, she never sees an excuse. There's no exceptions, and I'm proud to call her a student of mine.
I met with our 8th grade teachers to discuss our Judges Scholar, and we actually came up with a list of around 5 students, and we narrowed that down, and the teachers made our choice of Miss Campbell because of the leadership skills she exhibits, her work ethic in her class. All of her teachers feel like she sets the cadet expectations that you'll hear about later on when we present. And that she is a prime candidate that exhibits all of those characteristics. So she was our North Middle School choice, and a very good one.
And if I could have the principals and the students come back here for a picture. Well, we're heading back there. If you were a person that came with one of these ladies, would you all stand and be recognized as well? Parents or siblings, thank you all so much.
Ms. Margana, the fact that we had so many students for our principals to choose from as leader of
Amazing.
the month is quite an accomplishment. I would
Extraordinary
Kudos to
things
them.
happen in the Henderson County schools. They do. Next, we'd also like to recognize Nicholas Nixon. I don't see him here also, but I met him last week when we went to the public library. We have our library friends with us tonight. And they helped us kick off our sesquicentennial celebration. And Miss Megan Mortis is going to tell you a little bit more about that, but we will keep a Medal of Excellence for him and make sure that we give that to Mr. Thompson, then it gets to him at the high school. A little bit about Nicholas. He has been 5 years in the marching band as a percussionist and 3 years of visual communication. He plans to attend Murray State University and major in graphic design. His parents are Nikki Nixon and Rodney Harmon. So, Mr. Thompson, will you make sure he gets that Medal of Excellence? Thank you so much. Next, we would like to recognize a very special person. And this person is someone who has many years in the Henderson County schools. And after she retired, she came back to continue to help the schools and the children of Henderson County. She now serves in the capacity as the grant writer. So if Miss Nancy Satterfield, if you would come forward, please. Yes. We have a Medal of Excellence for you as well. That's right. So as she's coming forward, in the last 6 years, she has diligently worked to write grants that help, as I said, the schools and the kids. She has written grants for backpacks, for books. Oh, we must take pause. Finley, how about if you wear her medal, okay? I have a hard time getting that back now, is all I can say. She did. But they have both grandkids have a lot to be proud of. Because as I was mentioning, Nancy has written grants for us for things as simple as birthday bags, the backpack program, all the way up to life skills curriculum, PE equipment, our 21st Century grants. We received the first preschool 21st Century grant in the nation. She's also written grants for, there's a diesel fuel or a diesel grant fuel project that she has written for. She's written for greenhouses. So it just spans everything over the 6 years. But to really culminate it, she has received $5.1 million worth of grant funding for the Henderson County schools. And for that, Miss Satterfield, we need to recognize you and thank you and make sure that you receive a Medal of Excellence for your dedication to our kids. Want to do a photo? Oh. They're beautiful. Ms. Satterfield, thank you for your dedication to Henderson County Schools. Next, we would like to take this opportunity. January is the month that we recognize our school board members. Now, I could have very easily put together a little survival kit for them, you know, something like a battery because they give us lots of energy, some Advil for maybe the headaches I cause them or that they have to deal with, or, you know, a rubber band because they are always stretching. We're stretching them, they're stretching us. But we do have a small gift that we would like to give you. But before that, most importantly, I'd like to introduce to you 3 young people who would just like to talk to you tonight. So I'd like to ask again Jordan Smith to come forward, Kate Kelsey, come forward, and Trinity Edwards to come forward, please.
So hi, I'm Kate Kelsey, and thank you for having us here on this snow day. About 13 years ago, we each entered into the Henderson County school system, excited and scared about the idea of school. We learned the general things, reading, writing, math, social studies, and science. But our teachers also inspired us to love education and to use the knowledge that we have gained to go out and make the world a better place. From a Jefferson Jaguar to a South Middle School Bulldog to a Henderson County High School Colonel, this love for learning has been encouraged. We each carried this love into a different way. Jordan into the healthcare program, Trinity into soccer, and as boring as it sounds, myself into AP classes. Our high school offers a large quantity of AP classes, some of the most in the state. One of the greatest experiences that I've had is to be able to take 13 of the 18 AP classes offered at the high school. These AP classes have a rigorous curriculum, which has challenged me to work harder than I thought possible, and to develop critical thinking skills that I will carry with me to college and beyond. Further, these AP classes have helped me to prepare for college classes with the practical benefit of gaining credits, which will shorten the time I will be an undergraduate. Since my goal is to receive a PhD in mathematics, shortening my undergraduate will be a great benefit. The education that I have received through the Advanced Placement Program has enhanced my curiosity and empowered me to embrace every opportunity as it presents itself. We would like to thank you, the board, for your continued support of the Advanced Placement Programs at Henderson County High School.
Hi, my name is Trinity Edwards, and I just first off would like to express my gratitude towards you guys for all the hard work you put in to help each student in our school system just have a great experience socially and educationally. I've been involved in so many different programs throughout my career in the Henderson County school system, all in which have truly, I believe, have impacted the person that I am today. One of my most favorites is being a state competitor on the soccer field and also being in the Farm Follies, being a playwright in the Gifted and Talented program. Each student is given a numerous amount of opportunities through programs that suit each of their needs. The most impactful to me personally was being a part of the Lady Colonel soccer team. It is so much more than a sport to me. It is more of a family that teaches each player valuable lessons that help them get, that they just can't learn that out into a classroom setting. It's just certain lessons that they just need to learn in different ways through a team. The standards we are taught to uphold truly show within my teammates and I. The importance of respect, responsibility, and perspective is a motto my coach has portrayed onto us, and are life lessons I will take anywhere into life. I want to thank you, the board, and for the recognition of our teams in 2015 after we went to the Elite 8, and we all received academic All-State awards in 2015. As a freshman at the time, receiving that honor just created more excitement for the future years to come and gave our team a drive to continue on academically and also to become 4P region champions. Just simple recognitions as that help show that the board is truly watching for our achievements academically and in extracurriculars, no matter who you are. I also want to congratulate the board for the respect that the name Henderson County has gained over the years. I've noticed the evolution of the school system through the board's achievements of doing something a little bit more each year, connecting the community and the school system. Each thing that you guys have done have played an astronomical effect onto our futures. I think we can all agree that Henderson County schools will forever have a piece of our hearts. So simply, thank you to everyone that has played a role into our lives and creating us to be the leaders for tomorrow.
On behalf of the students of our school system, I would formally like to express my gratitude for the Board of Education. This amazing group of men and women have put their heart and soul into making Henderson County schools the best in Kentucky. They have succeeded in making our high school a distinguished high school, and they push us to be the best versions of ourselves academically and socially. It is because of the board that I have been given the chance and the tools necessary to succeed after high school. From the time I started attending East Heights Elementary School up until now, I have always been challenged intellectually and pushed to work harder in my schoolwork and extracurricular activities. I was given the opportunity to earn dual credit for medical terminologies, a first aid class, and English through the partnerships with Henderson Community College and Madisonville Community College. We were given numerous opportunities by our board to enhance our high school and college education by partnering with these schools to save our families significant amounts of money and enter us in college with higher levels of understanding and experience in our specific courses. Another way the school board has prepared us for our career futures is through our career and technical education unit. I chose the health sciences pathway because I have always had an interest in having a career in the medical field. I knew that I would want to be a doctor, but I didn't know how to get there. The school system gave me the tools and steps it would take to help me get closer to reaching my goal. Now as a senior, I participate in our clinicals program where I get to spend 2 hours of my morning, Monday through Thursday, job shadowing medical professionals at units of the Methodist High School or even other schools in the school district. Not only do we have the CTE pathway to prepare us, but we were recently given our Nearpod lessons, which teach us soft skills such as communication and collaboration and other extracurricular activities that I participate in, such as KYA, CUNA, and class officers that teach us leadership and dedication. Needless to say, the Board of Education has always had our best interests at heart, whether that be in terms of school safety and snow days or transition readiness. I would sincerely like to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for preparing us.
So could you all help me, please? I'd like to give out some certificates, and board members, as to receive your certificate, if you would come forward, and then we'll do a picture, please. So. Cindy, would you give this to Chad Thompson? Thank you all. And our board chair usually also introduced. These were our 3 student ambassadors for tonight as well also. So welcome. Lastly, yes, let's give them a round of applause. All right, so the last thing we'd like to do is to take a few minutes, and I think Miss Heather Bewley-Coombs is here. And no, she's not here, but I think we have something to share. She says yes. Awesome. Mr. Rush, were you going to be a part of the presentation? Yes? Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely we can. I would love for her to, because she's so full of energy. That would be great. Absolutely we can. We will postpone that to the next time. Look, she's already ready and prepared, though. All right, so Madam Chair and members of the board, that concludes our student and staff.
Thank you, Ms. Margana. Moving on to public participation and recognition of guests. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board this evening? If there is, I need you to fill out a form and bring it to me. No takers? Okay, cool. And I believe you've gotten all of our guests. Is that correct? I think so.
Other than if there's any guest that would like some refreshments in the back, there are ladies back there to serve you in honor of our board members tonight.
It's delicious too, so y'all need to partake. Moving on to approving the minutes from the prior meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from our December meeting?
I'd like to make a motion we accept the minutes as presented, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. Do I hear a second? Thank you, Mr. West. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to reports. Sesquicentennial. Ms. Megan? There she is, in the very back.
Hello, everyone, and I'm glad we can see the new logo there for the Sesquicentennial. Unfortunately, Nicholas Nixon, we talked earlier, could not be here, but he was a part of the unveiling ceremony as we officially kicked off our Sesquicentennial last Wednesday at Henderson County Public Library. Thank you to all the board members that were in attendance. We had over 30 individuals at our kickoff. We were very pleased with that. And we're very pleased to have a wonderful partner in our celebration, our year-long celebration, and that is the Henderson County Public Library. And we have representatives from the library with us this evening, and we want to recognize them. Caleb May and Cassie Gillum, if you could come forward, we'd like to get your picture and also recognize you all as partners in our celebration. The library is our official, archive for the history, and individuals can actually drop off any memorabilia from 1869 until 2019. They can have, it can be yearbooks, photos, letters, report cards, anything is Henderson County Schools history. They can bring that to the library, and they're going to digitally archive that for all future generations. And we're very pleased with this partnership. We also have a committee, a history committee, made up of individuals from the community. We've been meeting all summer long. We have several events planned to celebrate the rich history of Henderson County Schools. It's included in your board packet, all of the events that we have. And there's more to come, so we will be updating our website and filling you in all year long on everything Henderson County Schools history. So thank you again for your partnership. Is there anything you want to say? Sure. Real quick, here we have, if I can get this off. Here we go. The director of the library, Caleb May.
Thank you all so very much for having us today, and I am Caleb May, the director of the Henderson County Public Library District, and just wanted to say, and from my introductory remarks at the Sesquicentennial kickoff last week, I did recognize from the very beginning we all have been on the same team and part of the same community, driving us all forward and ensuring that not only the next generation but also past generations are remembered and future generations are aspired to, and we just appreciate all that you do for our community, and really look forward to participating even more through this project and others. In recent history, we have supported through a Food for Fines promotion, contributing toward the weekend backpack program, and some other promotions as well with the district. So appreciate you all and everything that we can do to retain that history, because it really is, and if it's been said once, it's been said a million times. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been, and who we are so much depends on where we've been and those who have come before us. So thank you so much again for having us participate with you in the Sesquicentennial of the schools, and look forward to participating with you further in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Miss Megan. Moving on to Spotsville Elementary School. John Hagan Codell.
Evening, everybody. Just to give you an update on where we stand today. Obviously, the demo of the existing building has been completed. The retention pond has now been constructed. They lack 3 or 4 days worth of fine grading out there. We're hoping the weather will just go ahead and freeze so they can complete their work. The sidewalk around the perimeter of the retention pond is probably 50% complete. I expect them to be finished up the end of next week. Same with the electrician. All the light pole bases have been poured. They'll be on site tomorrow, setting the poles and hooking those up. So everything should be finished the end of next week, with the exception of obviously the asphalt paving, and then the roofers still got a little bit of work. So other than those two contractors, in the end of this month, everything should be 100% complete with the contract work. Obviously, there's still some punch list items hanging out there. We're going to reissue a warranty/punch list probably tomorrow. There's some carpet needing some attention in the media center. Let's see. The kitchen equipment contractor was actually out there this afternoon while I was there. They should be able to finish up this evening. So that's a good one to get finished up. Really, it's just obtaining all the warranties, getting all the final closeout documents together, and coming before you next month requesting final payment for the majority of the contractors. So we're getting down to the end and looking forward to closing one out. Obviously, we'll be waiting on the spring for the asphalt. So, but other than that, we should be wrapped up.
Board members, are there any questions on the BG items that are also listed with Spotsville? Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just had a question about when I look at the retaining, what is that?
Pond.
Retention pond.
Well, I always hesitate to say the word pond. I think that doesn't sound right. Where will the playground be sitting when I drive by and see the retaining pond from there?
Behind it.
Just behind it.
Towards the rear of the parking lot.
So that'll be parking lot and
there'll be a basketball court as well that gets paved back in there. So it's kind of back between it and the back of the school.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did have some change orders to present.
Go ahead, yeah.
Majority of these are credits. There's 3 very small credits. This is just unused purchase order balances. That money reverts back to the contingency fund. As you can see, 3 very small credits there. We do have 1 significant credit from Danco. That's a $22,000 credit, eliminating some chain link fence. That was just some value engineering items that we're going to remove that from their scope. And there's 2 adds here. Henry's Plumbing. This is a culmination of 2 items. There's some changes made in one of the mechanical closets that required some adjustment of the sprinkler system, changing that to an upright head. And then the majority of it, there was a $25,000 allowance in the plumbing bid packages so that all the bidders on bid day were on the level playing field. The scope of work to extend the water line, the main line on the opposite side of US 60 was kind of unknown, the requirements from the water company, local water company. So we had all the bidders include $25,000, and then we tracked their actual work, time and material, against that allowance, and it actually exceeded it by roughly $10,000. So those 2 items combined totaled to $12,140 to Henry's Plumbing. And then the last one to State Electric. This was some work that the local electrical inspector required, putting those breakers on all the kitchen equipment under the hood. So when the fire alarm is tripped or pulled, all the equipment is shut down. So that, and then obviously there's a couple other owner requested items there, adding some lights in the freezer and cooler, and then some data drops at the teacher workstations. This should be next month. I will have 1 final change order to Hazex for the last of the unsuitable soils. We've waited until they got all that work completed. But other than that one, this should be it. There'll be 1 more small credit, but this is pretty much it.
Any questions regarding those change orders? Ms. Beth, do we need to list these individual? Can I read them all off in one motion? Individually? Okay. Okay. All right, so I look for a motion to approve, well, I've got them on here. Listen for a motion to approve the proposed change orders, BG 15-016, order number 5-2-1, order 8.8-1-2, order 8-2-1, order 22-6, order 24-4, and order 26-5. Look for a motion to approve those as listed.
I make that motion that those are approved as listed.
Thank you, Ms. Tracy. I'll second that. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Change orders approved. Moving on to, thank you, John Hagan. I'm sorry, excuse me? Do you need him? No? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Mike's not
That's
working with me. There it is. Just to share while he was sitting down, overall, members of the board, Madam Chair, members of the board, as you are a member with the Spotsville project, we had a contingency put in there, which you're required to, obviously, for every project. But we had not built in to that project any money for furniture or money for technology. And we just were very hopeful that our project would go well and that we would be able to use contingency money to purchase furniture and to purchase our technology pieces. And that has happened, even though as you see change orders coming through, Cindy and Janice and Tina, probably in the finance department, have worked, and we feel like when the project's all said and done, that we still should have about $60,000 left in contingency for the full package for Spotsville. Now, that's as long as we receive those payments from Hanover, and they still owe us 3 payments when PPMI walked off through the insurance company. But I just wanted to kind of give you all an overview. A lot of times you see the change orders coming through, pluses or minuses, but the overall big picture, as long as we get our payments from the insurance company, from Hanover, from the PPMI walking off the site, we should end that project through Codell and RBS with about $60,000 left over is what we're thinking right now. So
and that's after we pay for the furniture and the
after
technology.
we paid for all the furniture,
okay.
plus another little additional furniture piece we just did for just some minor items, some shelving and things like that, and for all of the technology. Yes. So.
Which are 2 huge things.
Oh, ginormous, yes.
Ginormous.
We feel real good with the projects, or working with Codell and with RBS through the project. We know in any relationship, sometimes there's a tug and there's a pull, and we're not always happy, and then we're excited, and then that's just a working relationship. But if you look at the overall scope of it, we turned out very well and appreciate Codell and RBS through that process.
Thank you. Thank you, John Hagan. We appreciate it. Thank you. Moving on to our next project, which is the new Jefferson Elementary and some South Middle School. Mr. Jeff Justice, welcome back.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for allowing us to give you an update on New Jefferson Elementary and the site improvements at South Middle School. On behalf of the design team, Hafer and Skinner Design Associates and QK4, we're continue to be excited about the project. The first time we stood before you, we showed you some initial concepts of what the school might look like, both from a exterior imagery and from a floor plan standpoint. I'm here today to say that we have continued to develop those concepts and put together a completed schematic design package for both the parking lot improvements for South Middle School and for the schematic design for the New Jefferson Elementary. That has been submitted formally to KDE, and it is in their hands for review. They've acknowledged receiving it, and we continue on a regular basis to check with them to make sure they have any questions and to encourage them to complete that review as promptly as possible. Just to let you know that we are not waiting for that review to be completed to continue our work. We have lots of things that can be done in terms of working out details relative to the kitchen, working out and finalizing code reviews, looking at and starting wall section details, and continuing to work with Codell for development of updated cost construction budgets and so forth. We appreciate that relationship, and they've been very helpful so far as we've looked at and we'll continue to look at different things relative to foundations with them to see which is most cost effective, things like that. I will tell you that we expect to get our soil boring results back next week that will allow us to make some better decisions relative to those foundations. And overall, very pleased with the progress, and remain tremendously excited to be working on the project with you. So that's my quick report, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address those.
Once we get the state approval, then how far from there do we work on putting out bids and contracts? You have to wait for the state. Skip, yes. Goes from there. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Any other questions, anyone? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Moving on to Henderson County High School athletic report. Mr. Jeff Coursey.
Good evening. I'm glad I was able to make it tonight because we had no school. That means we had no athletic events taking place, and so we had to cancel our basketball games tonight. But it is good to be here. You have your report in front of you. I do have some additions as well as some changes on the report. You can see that for our winter sports, we have 159 student athletes competing in archery, boys and girls basketball, bowling, swimming, and wrestling. And those seasons are winding down. We're getting ready to start our postseason. You'll see their bowling regionals there and swimming regionals, both in Paducah, and also to add wrestling regionals with our wrestling team, which is doing really well. In fact, they're going to be competing at the high school on January 31st. So hope to see you all there. But their wrestling regional will be in Paducah as well on February 8th and 9th. On the basketball, you'll see the district tournament, also the regional tournament. I was jumping ahead. It says Boys Regional Christian County. It's actually Madisonville. Christian County is in 2020 for hosting there. So the Boys Regional will be played at Madisonville. And then the KHSA was looking for a spot for the archery regional. We hosted it last year, and they asked us to host it again. So we'll be doing that on March the 23rd at the Henderson County Archery Center. Our cheerleading squad will be going to nationals. It says two squads. Two squads competed at state and did well, and just one squad will be going to the nationals in Orlando in February, and then also the dance team will compete at nationals in Orlando in February as well. Our spring sports are beginning with conditioning, and they'll have organized practices starting February the 15th. There are some schedules that should have been included in the report of bass fishing, softball, and track, and tennis and baseball have a couple of waiting on a couple of commitments on teams that we've added to their schedule, and we'll have those out here in the next week or so. And also, we've just received word this past week that our girls soccer team, for the third year in a row, received the Sportsmanship Award for the region. And this is voted on by the officials who officiate the contest. So for congratulations to Coach Dempsey and the Lady Colonel soccer team for a third year in a row getting the Sportsmanship Award. And then you'll see there the facilities updates, sound system waiting for it to be installed at the softball field. And then we're still waiting on maintenance to install the baseball and soccer scoreboards as we're just waiting for the weather to cooperate with us and be able to get those up and running as well. And also we're looking at our LED light options for the soccer field to be in KHSA state compliance to host a regional contest. All right. So any questions? All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jeff. Moving on to child nutrition report. Ms. Charlotte? I don't know about the children, but the adults up here have been very nutritious, very delicious.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. We want to give all the credit to Miss Lenny Ward, my manager here at the preschool center. She does a fabulous job doing all of our catering, and that is her specialty. It's requested quite often, and so we made sure you got some tonight. The child nutrition report, you've already received it. I'm not going to take too long on it. I know we have a long evening. So I'll just ask, do you have a lot of questions on it? Anything you want to ask me tonight?
Good to me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Moving on to the December 1 count. Ms. Chris?
That we completed, obviously in December. And this is for moving forward to look at our SEEK add-on funds. That's how it's calculated for the next school year. Okay, so the first slide goes over just our overall percentage of special education students in our district. And I gave you last year's compared to this year just so you can see if there's a difference or a change. And currently we're at 14.4% special education, and I broke it down between all other areas versus speech only because that is a pretty big chunk. So 9.8%, there are 14 different areas, and so one of those is speech only, and that's 4.6%. Sorry. The next slide, if you'll move on there, this is the breakdown of all those areas of eligibility, and we're pretty comparable to even the nation as far as where we break down. So speech language being the highest, specific learning disability second, and then other health impaired are our three biggest hitters. Okay, and then the next one. I gave you a breakdown again of the last 4 years for the different areas of eligibility, and we always look at that to see if there's any trends or changes. And the two biggest are that our speech language impairment has gone down significantly over the last 4 years, which is good because we were really higher than our state in that area. So we've done audits in the past and just looked at what we're doing to determine eligibility in those areas. We've also seen a significant increase with our specific learning disability category, and that's gone up significantly. We are a district that uses RTI, response to intervention, to determine eligibility in that area, which is different for a lot of people in our co-op who use the discrepancy model. So we do see higher areas in that compared to others. Okay. And then the last slide goes over our transportation and our special ed staff. And so I gave you a breakdown over the last 3 years of where we are, and then how our transportation over the last 3 years. And we did see a significant increase since last year, and a lot of that's due to just behaviors on the bus and safety issues.
Have the cameras on the buses helped in that particular area?
Yeah.
Well,
in all areas,
but
yeah.
with this particular
Yes.
segment of children is what I was asking.
Yeah. Are there any questions about any of that?
I don't know that I have a question for you. I have a question for Miss Cindy Cloutier.
Okay.
If I go back to the second slide and it shows the percentage of special ed students being 14.4%, how does that relate to the percent of our budget that is used for that? Because I know we don't get near as much as what we spend on special ed. Is that correct? Do we know?
You want to know the percentage or the amount that we spend over IDEA-B and the general fund?
Probably over what we get is what I was kind of asking, but I don't expect exact numbers. I'm just
right around $1 million over between the add-on and the IDEA-B budget, the SEEK add-on and the IDEA-B.
what we spend in addition to what the federal government gives us, which is not state funded. This is federally funded, correct? Okay. So special ed students in Henderson County get over and above what they would get in a typical spending
Yes.
district. Is that correct? Fair statement. Okay. And thank God for that.
Out the window, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. We appreciate it. Moving on to North, we're going to be starting, instead of having our Council of Councils, as we have done in years past, we usually had it for 2 nights. We decided earlier that we would do a couple of schools at every board meeting, and so we're starting that one. This tonight is North Middle School, South Middle School, and Cairo. First up is North Middle. Miss Becky.
So I wanted to explain that because those of you that have been in the district for a while, you know that North typically has, their own classroom of people that come marching in for any of these things. So this evening we want to share a few things with you. So we thought, what better way? Our students are very tech savvy, so I thought that I would delve into some of the things that the kids sometimes use, and I'm going to give you the 5-minute what do you need to know about North Middle School, both in the world of data, but also in the world of just sort of our beliefs, what we do, and how we do it. So I'm going to hopefully start this, and I hope that you're able to hear. 5 minutes, that's most of what we believe in, most of the philosophies, the things that we do at North Middle School, the things that we spend our SBDM allotment on, and the things that we do for our students and our staff. It included sections on data. We have analyzed our test data. We are very well aware of the things that we need to work on. The two things that have us to be a TSI school, which there are, Ms. Kim, how many? About close to half the state is TSI status. The two things that we continue to struggle with are students with disabilities in reading and our African American population in reading. Our African Americans saw more than a 5% gain last year. We did our curriculum, our instructional specialist, Ms. Hoffman, and I took a group of African American students last year, and out of all the ones that came on a regular basis, half plus one increased at least one level in their test scores. And we had one of our students that came on a regular basis that went up 2 test score levels. So this year we expanded that. We are doing an African American group and a student with disabilities group as well. Those are targeted. Like, we have gone through, met with the teachers, and gotten their input on who we need to include in those groups. So those are the two things, the two areas that we feel like we are are causing us to be a TSI school, and areas that we know we need a little more intense focus. So what questions do you have for us?
Wes, questions? Kurt? Good? Mr. Mike?
I have one.
Ms. Tracy?
Kudos to the students that put together your technology presentation. That was awesome.
My only comment is teaching kids is not just about test scores, and it's about a culture, and it's about how the students look at themselves. And from seeing North Middle School several years ago, and not to degrade the way it was going, but that was a school that was bordered on being in trouble with their attitudes and with their school culture. And you all have turned that completely around faster than most ships do. And I'm proud of you all for doing that. So teaching those students and getting them in the right direction has been a good thing, and the test scores will come along. It'll be fine.
And we are very pleased because it has been 3 years of intentional focusing on the culture, working on the perception with the community, rebranding our school. Like, we typically no longer refer to ourselves only as North Middle School. We are North Nation. Our students, we hear central office, we hear people from the community that use our brand, and we are very proud of that. And we feel very lucky that the community has embraced us. And I do feel like the public perception of our school is very different. But our children are not just a test score to us. There's a lot more that goes into helping our kids to become really amazing cadets when they leave us. And so they are definitely more than just a test score. So our test scores, we have had some major changes in team players, and I think that has caused us, a few stumbles. But for the most part, we are seeing mainly upward movement. And the few declines that we've had, we know why those declines have happened. So,
But I've met several of your students from different activities and different things that we've had in the past 6 months, and they all have that take care of this and can finish the sentence, and they all know what that means, and that's something they can carry on through the rest of their life. Is there anything that this board can provide for you? I mean, we gave you new bleachers. What else do you want,
Oh, that is not an open check.
No, it's not an open check, but we
I'm
just
just
want to ask, we always need to ask if there's something else we can do for you.
I am a numbers person. I like data. Last week at the principals meeting, Ms. Stanley made a comment that really got me to thinking. She was talking about equity with the placement of a school manager at East Heights. The following day, I met with Miss Mays, and we were discussing the fact that we may be losing our special ed building coordinator. She has since said she's going to try to take a good look. But because I'm a numbers person, I have something that I want to share with our board. Mr. Easton, if you will, yes. Middle school is, it is a very difficult age. Don't get me wrong, all age levels carry their own burdens. But middle school is a time where students are going through the most rapid growth. They're emotionally very unstable because of the hormones, because of some of the things that they are going through. And I just wanted to share with the board one thing that I found, and that is when you look at the current number of students per administrator and the current number of pupils per guidance counselor, middle school is once again the middle child. So when you kind of look at these numbers, so especially if you look at the high school, they currently have 6 principals across their building. They serve about 1,988 students this year, and so that average is about 331 students per administrator. But if you look at the middle school numbers, we have this year 415 students at North Middle School that Mr. Easton and I are both responsible for. Next year, with our projected enrollment of 888, and those are the most current numbers that were pulled out of Infinite Campus yesterday, we will have 444 students each as administrators. Compared to when you look at the elementaries, their per pupil, and you look at the high school per pupil. To me, that feels like, you know, we have kids that are going through, they're pretty much an emotional wreck at times because of the hormones, because of the transition from elementary to middle school, and we have the fewest administrators to assist those kids. When you look at guidance counselors, we're at the same exact point. We have 2 guidance counselors in our building, and so our rate for next year is going to be roughly 450 kids per guidance counselor. The high school just posted another guidance counselor position. They're going to have 7 guidance counselors. So I feel like, to some degree, middle school is kind of left in the middle, and I get that, but if there is any way that we could find some extra help, I'm not asking even for another assistant principal, but another counselor, and to be able to keep our special ed building coordinator, we need those things, just because when you look at the numbers and when you think about, and I believe, if I remember correctly, Mr. Haynes has some experience in middle school. It is a very difficult age level of student. And to look at our statistics, look at our actual numbers, and to think that we serve more kids per administrator and per guidance counselor than any other grade level or any other level of school just doesn't seem equitable. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I've also included an article that from ACT. It's a summary of some research that ACT did on the importance of middle school, and it essentially says the importance of middle school that plays a huge factor in whether or not students are going to be college and career ready, especially the 8th grade level. And so I included that. It was something that that research had just kind of come out when Dr. Ritchie was still here, and we had discussed it. And so I just wanted to put that out there for consideration, because I was hoping that Ms. Baird would ask that question tonight about what can we do.
Yes, and I would say, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is the first that I've heard of this concern or have seen this data, and the administration will certainly review it and take into consideration what the personnel needs are of the school, and we'll have further conversation with it by all means. But Ms. Johnson, would you also introduce your SBDM council tonight?
I will. I'll be happy to. We have, starting on the far end, we have Tyler Pippin, who teaches 8th grade ELA at North. We have Crystalyn Wilson, who teaches 6th grade ELA at North. We have Mr. Titzer, who is a parent representative who has a 7th grader in our building. And we have Mr. Bob Schultz, who is also our new school resource officer through the Sheriff's Department. And he has an 8th grade daughter in our building. And then we have Mr. Eastham, our assistant principal. And Miss Stanley, I'm sorry that I didn't give this to you first, but literally it started at the principal's meeting. It continued with my conversation with Miss Mays, and I was pretty much in a panic. Like, I can't lose my special ed building coordinator. We have 125 kids with IEPs and 504s, and to be very honest, like, I am busier than a one-legged man in a dancing contest. Like, so I just wanted to put it out there because I also know that if anything could be done, that the board would have to be on board with it. So I just wanted to bring it because I had never thought of it like that. So I wanted to share what I had discovered as I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we keep moving and how do we keep moving forward with some of the issues that we have. So thank you.
And I agree. Some of the safety issues that we have seen in schools across the country in the past year have been sometimes involving middle school students, not just high school students. So that's an area that we need to look at. Mr. Kirk, did you have a question? That's cool. Cool. Thank you very much.
Just a little side note. I think she mentioned Mr. Bob Schultz is the new SRO as well, and just wanted to point that out to the board members. So
we're tickled to death to have you, sir.
Well, I haven't been in an investigative capacity since about 2003, so it's been pretty interesting. It's kind of what I expected, but with a few other surprises. But it's a really good school. I haven't been on the council last year and this year. Was a great insight to what I was going to be getting into. I had no idea that I'd be doing that at that point, but being on the council has really been helpful, and I've really been impressed last year and this year at just how dedicated the educators are. I mean, they really put everything into it, and it's a really good school. And I'm glad because I think, and like Mr. Rush will tell you this, that you need an officer in your middle schools. You do. And high school could use at least one more. So I'm hoping that there'll be grant money available at some point in the future for all the schools, hopefully. But that's the world we live in today, and that worries me about what could happen, especially in a school of that size with that many kids. And I'm glad that I'm there because I've been with the state police safe school program since 2013. And that was a really big program that we did statewide. So I'm very, very dedicated to that area of what that's about. So, and I'm not on your agenda. I could wind this up for a long, long time, but I'm very passionate about the safe school program, and I hope that we can, my counterpart, Sean McKinney down south, can make these two middle schools the example that we should have in Henderson County. So, and I appreciate the opportunity, I really do, that you opened up those spots.
Thank you very much.
Glad to answer them for you.
After his first couple of days, I said, so how's it been? He goes, there's just always something going on.
All the time.
Also, we have one site-based student that did not meet with us tonight. This is who Beth, eighth grade.
Thank you, North Nation. Moving on to South Middle School. Mr. Ryan.
All right. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having us and allowing us to do this in this format. Ms. Stanley asked us to talk about our successes first. I like to kind of go piggyback off of Captain McKinney's comments. The fact that the board decided to go through the county sheriff's department and get two captains. I've got a captain at Sean McKinney South, and they've got a captain, Captain Schultz. And so having somebody like that with that amount of credentials and pedigree and experience. They have connections, state, local, county now, and so their experience is really beneficial. As we kind of take our school safety to the next level. So I really appreciate the board doing that. Some of the great things going on at South, our test scores are doing well. We're in the top, we're in the 93rd percentile in the state when you combine the reading and math. Our students, 75% of our students are meeting their AR goals with 100%, with 82% accuracy. So we felt like that was a big, so we're pushing reading at higher levels. We thank the board for committing to the parking lot next door to us. That on the grass side, and also we're going to have a part of that BG, I think, is a part of a practice football field. So tonight you're also going to look into approving a new basketball court. Our court has kind of served its life expectancy. So those are some of the good things going on at South. Our challenges, we were identified as a TSI school because our special needs students were underperforming, and we're very thankful that I heard the over $1 million in the special ed department. I know that's a strain, and we appreciate it. We think that the money is going to good use. We've had our special ed coach that Ms. Johnson was talking about for the past 2 years, and she's taken us to a new level. So our challenges have been remedied this year. We have a brand new schedule, and I'm going to tell you just a little bit about that and see how powerful that is. If I was a special ed teacher at South last year, one period I would be teaching 6th grade math. The next period I would be teaching 7th grade reading, and then I would follow it up maybe with an 8th grade social studies. So that teacher really they didn't have a chance to become an expert in that field. And so our special ed coach designed a plan so that all of our special ed teachers, they are teaching one content and one grade. So if I'm a special ed teacher now, I only teach 6th grade reading all day long. So I get that continuity. I get to learn from my colleagues, and it's producing a better product. And so that's our challenge. That's our remedy. And the WOW, Ms. Stanley asked to do a WOW. And so I'll just leave you with this. 10 years ago, I was around as an administrator, and it seemed like the media was all over us because we're not beating Davis County and things like that. And so we would have to answer in these type of settings of like, hey, what do we need to do to beat other schools around us? So I'm proud to show you that our middle school ranks at the very top. I put all of the counties that touch us. So you have 12 or so middle schools that touch us, and we're at the top in the reading and math proficiency. So I'll leave it at that, and if anybody has any questions, I kept it short for you, Mr. Waller.
Can I second that? Oh, sorry.
Any questions?
Thank you, Tracy. Ryan and I go back a long way. We don't cut any mustards, right to the point.
Any other questions, board members? You all have consistently kept your culture going in the right direction, and I know all of our middle schools have challenges, and I commend you on keeping them focused on the right things and keeping their parents involved too. Thank you all. Moving on to one of my favorite places in the world, Cairo Elementary.
To Miss Baker. Yes. Good evening. For those of you all who don't know me, my name is Brooke Chappelle, and I'm principal of Cairo Elementary. It's definitely an honor to be here with you all this evening to share all about the many great things that are happening at Cairo, also some of our strengths, along with some of our areas for growth, and the plans that we have for moving learning forward at Cairo. First, I'd like to take a moment to introduce our SBDM Council who have joined us this evening. First, we have Miss Angie Blair, 4th grade teacher, Miss Sarah Buckman, 4th grade teacher, Miss Stacy Fowler, 3rd grade teacher, Christina Stinson, parent member, Amanda Denton, parent member, and Miss Felicia Holloman, who is our instructional coach. Thank you all so much for being here this evening, and also all of the hard work that you do every day to move learning forward at Cairo. To begin, we have a short presentation that you see on the screen here to share with you, and also a handout that displays some of our strengths, some of our areas for continual growth, and then the plans that we have to address these needs. So we're ready when you are. All right, thank you, Ms. Newton. I'd like to take just a now to share with you a little bit more in detail about some of the things that you saw in the video. So first, let's begin with some of our academic highlights. As you saw in the video and also in your handout, we continue to make steady gains in both reading and math according to our K-Prep data. Overall, in reading from 2017 to 18, we achieved a 3.5% gain in the percentage of students who scored proficient and distinguished. Also, last year, 75% of our 5th grade students scored at the proficient or distinguished level in reading. As a school, we've made many changes that we believe will continue to improve the student achievement in reading at Cairo. In our primary grades, students receive 30 minutes of intentional Saxon phonics instruction each day, along with at least an additional 15 to 20 minutes of intentional phonemic awareness instruction through the use of Heggerty. This, of course, falls within our 120-minute primary reading block that occurs each day as well. For our intermediate grades, that reading block spans 90 minutes. We also have 3 school-wide comprehension skills that we target within a specific schedule as well. These skills include main idea, inferencing, and summarizing. Common graphic organizers have been developed for each comprehension skill and are used by each grade level for consistency. Fluency, of course, also plays an integral part in reading success. Therefore, fluency homework is given twice a week for all of our Cairo students, and fluency checks are given once a month for kindergarten through 2nd grade, at least once every 6 weeks for our 3rd graders, and once per marking period for our 4th and 5th grades. Also, the RIC, or the Reading Inventory Continuum, is given to assess all kindergarten through 3rd graders at least 3 times a year as well. In addition to our Journeys curriculum that we use for reading, we also use HeadSprout, Accelerated Reader, and Compass Learning to improve student achievement in reading. For math, we saw even greater gains overall, with 8.3% more students scoring proficient or distinguished in 2018 as compared to 2017. Also, 88.4% of our fifth grade students last year scored proficient or distinguished in math, according to KPREP results, and for that we are very proud. To continue to move our students forward with learning in math, each grade level at Cairo follows math and focus curriculum and also the district pacing guides with fidelity. A 90-minute math block consisting of 60 minutes of math and focus instruction and 30 minutes of everyday calendar math is common to all grades. We also put an intentional focus on student understanding of content math vocabulary. Each morning during morning assembly, we learn a new math vocabulary word, and real examples are given to students to help them understand and apply these words. Accelerated math, reflex math, and compass learning are also used to reinforce math concepts and ensure that our students are learning their basic math facts. In science, our percentage of students who scored proficient or distinguished on KPRET last spring was approximately 7% higher than the state average. We foresee that percentage to continue to rise as we have been much more intentional this year with teaching science at the primary level. Each grade level uses Mystery Science as a guide for instruction, and our fourth grade team implements the Science Alive curriculum as well. Along with focusing on teaching the basic science content, we're also emphasizing the science and engineering practices with the cross-cutting concepts, which are all part of the next generation science standards. Through course task assessments are given for formative purposes at each grade level, along with classroom embedded assessments as well, which are also components of the three-part science assessment system. For some final highlights in our academic successes, students who qualify for free and reduced lunch made great gains according to KPREP assessment data as well. In reading, we achieved a 14% increase in the percentage of students who scored proficient or distinguished from 2017 to 18. And in math, 61.8% of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch scored proficient or distinguished, which was an increase of 23% for us. We credit these gains to our intentionality and the focus we put on ensuring that students in this gap group were making progress throughout the school year on all benchmark and classroom assessments. In analyzing our student achievement data, we also know that there are areas that we must focus more time, energy, and intentionality. For instance, the percentage of students who scored proficient or distinguished in on-demand writing declined 22% from 2017 to 18. To address this decline in writing progress, we began in August with revisiting our writing plan along with the writing standards. In our ongoing PLC meetings with our teachers, teams collaborate in a continual cycle to plan and assess student achievement data in writing. Within our school improvement plan, we also have a specific writing goal, along with intentional activities planned for the year. We've made many changes already this year with writing and are monitoring student progress in an ongoing cycle. We're also implementing Able and Atherton writing strategies across grade levels to develop more consistent expectations for student writing as well. We've seen growth over the past 6 months due to the increase in rigor, intentionality, and the time that we are now devoting to writing this year. Another area of growth for us lies within our social studies data. From 2017 to 18, KPREP data showed that the percentage of fifth graders scoring proficient or distinguished in social studies decreased by 23.3%. This was a significant drop in our social studies scores. So to address this need, we've developed a specific goal within our school improvement plan and have aligned activities to ensure we focus on growth in this content area. Part of this plan includes a focus on student learning of content vocabulary, also along with the use of the Social Studies Alive curriculum. For students who qualify as having a disability in both reading and math, KPREP data analysis showed that about 1/3 of our Cairo students with disabilities scored proficient or distinguished. While we have made some gains with this gap group in reading, we still know we must be very intentional in our planning, delivery of instruction, and assessment of these students. Our special education team collaborates continuously at the school and the district level to learn and deliver high-quality instruction. Also, we received a training before Christmas by Lisa Moment. We now have trained each of our K-Prep proctors who are now working with the students they will proctor for during K-Prep. We believe that an intentional focus on building strong relationships between our special ed students and their proctors is another strategy that will increase student achievement at K-Row. Intentional goal setting at the individual classroom grade level and school-wide level is another process we've implemented over the past few years that has helped move student achievement forward at K-Row. Each child at K-Row has a leadership notebook, which you'll see from Claire in just a moment, where he or she tracks current individual achievement data, sets and records personal goals, tracks the strategies or lead measures that will be used to help make progress toward the goal, and then reflects on whether or not that goal was met. Our teachers and students are intentional with this goal-setting process, and our students know their end in mind before they take each assessment. As a school, we feel that this goal-setting process continues to move learning forward at K-Row. Another focus for us this year has been on improving core instruction with each classroom. Formative classroom walkthroughs are done in an ongoing cycle, and formative feedback is given to teachers after each classroom visit. We're thoroughly analyzing the core instruction occurring in each classroom and are working with teaching teams to continue to improve the high-quality instruction that's occurring. As a school, we've embraced a growth mindset, and we know that we can always continue to learn and grow. In our weekly PLC meetings, teaching teams bring assessment data to analyze as a collaborative team. As a school, we have set a goal that on each assessment, at least 85% of students will show at least 80% mastery. Ms. Holloman, each grade level team, and I spend time during these weekly meetings discussing the clear learning target of the lesson along with how each student scored to see if that 85% goal was met. From there, we discuss areas of strength, address any misconceptions or misunderstandings, and then work together to make a plan for next steps in instruction. This analysis process is ongoing and has increased the collaboration that occurs within each teaching team. Also at K-Row, we take much pride in having a strong school culture. We believe that strong relationships between students or staff are foundational to all that we do. The Leader in Me process and PBIS are the core of our school culture. Being named a Leader in Me Lighthouse School in April of 2017 was an incredible milestone for our school, as we had earned the level of full implementation of the Leader in Me process. Teaching and reinforcing the 7 habits with our students, along with our PBIS expectations, have had incredible impacts on student behavior at our school. The number of discipline referrals has continued to decline over the past 3 years. Our teachers teach and reinforce the expectations and the habits with fidelity, which creates a positive learning environment and school atmosphere. All K-Row students have opportunities to serve in leadership capacities at our school as well. Each grade level and some of our extracurricular clubs lead service learning projects as well to provide authentic service to all, which of course is one of our district core values. This year, our K-Row leaders raised over $700 for New Hope Animal Shelter and also $700 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This is to just name a few of the service learning projects we've done so far this year. We truly believe that teaching our students to be servants in our community is an essential part of their educational journey. Our Student Lighthouse team has also been developed a few years ago, and they are the group that leads decision making for our student body at K-Row. And we always look forward to our annual leadership event where we partner with the Henderson Lunch Lions Club to share about how our students are growing and progressing as leaders in our school and our community. At Cairo, we are also working very hard to improve the experiences our students have that involve critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and innovation, while also teaching them to take initiative in all that they do. These experiences, of course, support our district-wide Building a Better Graduate initiative. Research shows that the World Economic Forum estimates that 65% of children today will end up in careers that do not even exist yet. That means that our Cairo students will likely end up in a job that no one has even thought of yet. Also, research shows that there's a shortage of skilled workers in high-tech fields and inadequate education of students in these areas. So to address this need and to begin to better equip our students with the necessary skills to adapt to the changing job environment, one big change in our school this year is the transformation of our media center. Last summer, we were fortunate enough to receive funds from the district that allowed us to update our library to make it the innovative hub of learning in our school. And we are very grateful for that funding to make those changes. When students enter the Cairo Library, they're involved in activities much different from the traditional library setting that many of you probably know. While our library still contains many books for students to read, it also has a STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math lab where students learn things such as design, basic engineering concepts, and coding through the use of apps and small basic robots and programming our new CNC machine. In our library, you will see students collaborating to solve problems that make them think more critically. When they code, they have used our dash and dot robots and have learned how to give them both basic and complex commands, such as maneuvering them through mazes and having them sing, dance, and even speak. Our third grade students are currently engaging in a Pinewood Derby project where they have designed, created, and refined Pinewood Derby cars with the help of a local engineer and several staff members. Also, 6 local machine shops will be represented at our exhibition night to speak to our students about their careers. These local machine shops have even designed and created Pinewood Derby cars to race against one another too. We plan to have our first exhibition night to spotlight the student learning from this project on January 29th at 6 p.m. at Cairo, and we would like to invite each of you all to attend that evening. Then in February, our 4th graders will design and launch rockets to learn more about aerodynamics, and in March, our 5th grade leaders will be designing the plaques they will receive at 5th grade graduation. They will then cut these plaques out with our new CNC machine that is housed in our media center. We feel that our Cairo STEM initiative, which was developed around 4 components, coding and robotics, engineering and design, media and graphic design, and exploration through the makerspace experiences, ignites passion for students to be self-directed learners and creates opportunities for creativity and problem solving. These skills are easily adapted for the changing times. We feel that yesterday's classrooms will not prepare our students for tomorrow's job market. We feel that our Cairo STEM initiative and the transformation of our media center are the beginning steps for us as we lay the foundation to build better graduates in Henderson County schools. At this time, I would like to introduce 2 Cairo leaders to future Henderson County High School graduates, Miss Allison Denton and Claire Stinson, and they're going to take just a few moments to share with you about the reasons they are proud to be Cairo Owls. Start, Miss Claire? We're going to put you right here so you can see. And Claire has brought her leadership notebook. I'll just kind of hold that up as she talks to you.
Good evening. My name is Claire Stinson, and I am a 2nd grade leader at Cairo. To me, Cairo is a special place because my teachers make learning fun for my classmates and me. Each day at Cairo, I follow number 2, habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. I set goals for myself in my leadership notebook. These goals help me focus on what I want to achieve every day. I learned something new to help me become successful in my future. I, Claire Stinson, am proud to be a Cairo Owl.
Good evening.
My name is Allison Denton. I'm 5th grade leader at Caro. I've been a leader at Caro since I was in 2nd grade, and I've been involved in many things at Caro, such as cheerleading, academic team, and I've held many leadership jobs. To me, Caro is the best because my teachers take care of me and my classmates, and this shows that they truly care about us. I've learned many leadership qualities during my time at Caro that will help me be prepared for middle school and the rest of my future. My favorite habit that I'll use in my future is habit number 4, think win-win. This habit teaches me that collaboration and coming up with creative solutions to problems is so important in life. When we think win-win, innovative ideas come to life, and this makes the possibilities endless for my classmates and me. I, Allison Denton, am proud to be a Caro Owl.
All right. Great job, Claire and Allison. So all in all, you can see that there are many great things happening at our school. We're proud of the progress that we have made, but continually strive to become better each day, both academically and culturally. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." Each day at Caro, we strive to build future leaders who are prepared both academically and also have strong character that will help them truly succeed in life. Thank you for your time today, and we thank you for your continued support of Caro. Any questions?
Hey, Ms. Brooke, anyone have questions? As always, I'm always proud of the work that Caro does.
Thank
Turned
you
out
very
a lot of good leaders. And we
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Is there anything that this board can do for you?
Just your continued support. We very much appreciate all that you have done for us, and we just ask that that continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Brooke. And that concludes our site-based decision-making council reports for this school board meeting. And we need to move on to old business. If I could get my computer to come back up, would help. The second reading of the 2019-2020 school calendar.
Well, I'll make a motion
It's
to
you.
accept the calendar as presented last
Oh
week.
my gosh, you're just trying to rush us
I mean,
along.
heck, it's
Let the.
already been looked at, right?
Is there any changes?
No changes, no.
Okay, well, we'll take that motion. Do I hear a second? Oh my gosh, listen to him. Thank you, Wes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Good job.
Casey, you sat here all there for that, you know. Thank you all for coming. Anyone who needs to leave this evening, please feel free to. Moving on to the district improvement plan, second reading. Ms. Kim White, let's see if you can be as fast as.
I was waiting on Mr. Waller.
I make a motion.
Thank
that
you,
we
Ms. Williams.
approve And make for the second reading of, oh, sorry.
Keep going.
I will simply tell you, we have had it available to the public since we've returned from Christmas break. We have not had any comments or questions from anyone in the public for their review. Ms. Swanson and I have worked together to put some things on there, specifically of how we're going to measure some things, particular resources and data and things that we will use.
See, I knew Miss White had to say something. I could tell by her eyes. So now, I'll go ahead with that motion to approve the second reading of the district improvement plan.
We've only had it for a month to look at.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business.
Madam Chair and members of the board, we are looking at the 2019 regular board meeting dates. They fall on the third Monday, with the exception of February. We move that to the Tuesday. And October 21st is the week after we come back from fall break, as we followed that pattern in the years past. So, Madam Chair, I would respectfully request your approval or suggestions to the dates for our board meetings in 2019.
Anyone have any issues or problems with any of those dates? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the 2019 regular board meeting date.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'll second that. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Go ahead, Kirk. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Calendar approved. Moving on to the owner-architect agreement BG 19-128 for Henderson County High School, North Middle School, and South Middle School gym floor replacement. Who gets that?
I do.
You do
and-
get that? Okay.
Madam Chair and member of the board, we've put in front of you the owner-architect agreement, which is a format that the Kentucky Department of Education provides for us in an agreement. And I know that you have already reviewed the BG ones for the Henderson and approved for the gym floors. And so this is just selecting the owner and the architect so we can continue to move forward with that project.
Any questions about that? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve BG 19-128 as listed. Thank you, Ms. Tracy. Do I hear a second?
Second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agreement approved. Moving on to the consent agenda. Consent items are approved school activity fundraiser request, approved student overnight trip request, approved non-resident contracts, approved 2 Henderson County School educators to attend a National Education Association meeting, approved bid recommendations, and approved request for 1 adjunct instructor. Are there any items that need to be pulled or discussed? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda items as listed.
So moved.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda approved. Moving on to financial. Ms. Cindy Cloutier, you get the budget, I believe.
Statute requires the board begin a review of anticipated revenues and expenditures for the following fiscal year by January 31st of each year. The draft budget is not required to be submitted to KDE for approval, and per KDE does not include Fund 2, which is local, state, federal grants, or Fund 360 planned construction projects. This budget is a continuation of our 18-19 working budget with the addition of rank and step increases and CERS benefit increases. 60% of our revenue currently comes from the state, with the remaining 40% coming from local sources. We still have 83% of our expenditures allocated to salaries and benefits, just as we did last year. We continue to put money into the classroom, into mental health and special education, into technology, and into school safety. This draft budget has our contingency set at 9.65 as calculated by KDE, or 9.03 of all of our funds. Some of the key items that I've included in this budget are the rank and step increases of $571,000, $170,000 to cover the 12% increase in the employer match for CERS, $160,000 for the KETS match, $238,000 for the TB21, and $600,000 for the refresh of devices for the one-to-one initiative, $405,000 for the purchase of buses, and $100,000 for the continuation of the STEM initiative, and $50,000 to start an apprenticeship program. This draft budget also contains sufficient funds to meet our anticipated debt service requirements. Any additional items that you would like to see in this added in this budget, to see added during the budget process, can be discussed and included in either the tentative budget or the working budget. Anyone have any questions? Yes, Brian Bailey would probably be the best one to answer that question.
So that is in anticipation. Our first year will be actually this year. We'll be purchasing devices for the next year's 9th grade students, so the incoming freshmen for next year. Then the following year, we will begin our refresh rate of every 6th and 9th grade device will need to be refreshed every year. So originally in the plan that was approved by the board, that number looked like it was going to be more like $1 million. So now we're looking more like 600,000 a year, 500 to 600,000. So we're going to save some money there.
Refresh away. Cindy, what Becky Johnson was talking about as far as guidance counselors, is this something you would, if that's something that we decided as a board and a district to add a guidance counselor possibly at each middle school,
would this be where it would have to kind of be introduced? Or,
Probably in the next budget cycle in the tentative.
okay.
You know, you could talk about it in
Just
between.
Oh, no, you're good. Okay, thanks.
I had a question.
I think that from the board's point of view, that I would need to bring that to the board as position that we would want to add into the budget. I think it would come from the administration first as a suggestion as whether or not that was needed, whether it's a guidance position or a whatever type of position for approval in the board action.
Refresh my memory again about the apprenticeship program. I know we talked about it
So
earlier.
the apprenticeship program is new. It's one of the new ways that we can make sure all of our high school students are transition ready. And so we are working on creating apprenticeship programs at businesses all throughout our community. Kids usually are paid to be an apprenticeship program. As the administration at the high school has sat down with district office, we see some opportunity that we could apply to as Henderson County Schools to possibly be an apprenticeship entity where we could offer our students that opportunity and pay them. For example, in the technology department, right now we have 4 co-op kids that work the student help desk. I think we could turn that into a apprenticeship program, but we have to pay them to do that. We also see maybe some opportunity with food service with Charlotte Baumgartner. So we're just estimating amount, thinking we might be able to take on 10 or 12 kids. That's what it would cost us. We have to go through an application process, but because it was a draft budget, I asked Cindy, is there any place in the budget that we have that we could try to help our kids through an apprenticeship program? So it's brand new.
I'm sitting here looking at Billy also in the back. Is there any room, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, that we could add some maintenance apprentices to that? Because we have, I know a group in Henderson schools, because I know we have a great maintenance staff, but they're not going to work till they're 100 years old. So we need to be creating our own. We're not. I can see Billy's going. I'm out the door already, right? We need to be creating our own bench for that too as well. Okay, cool. Any other questions regarding the budget? Does this one need to be approved, Cindy? No, this is just a draft, correct? Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I asked at our next, was the tentative budget that's scheduled when?
May.
May.
By the end of May.
Look at what would be considered a 1 to 2% increase in salaries
Okay.
as part of our assumptions, please.
Thought about that as well. I just not knowing where this pension system is going leaves kind of questions up in the air, but
Well,
yes, please.
considering that, you know, I mean, I'd just like to see it in the assumptions, whether we do or not.
Yes.
Depending on what we do as a final.
I totally agree. How many years has it been?
Thank you.
We gave them a raise last year? Okay, I couldn't remember when we did it. Okay. Okay, so Miss Cindy, moving on to the treasurer's report.
The treasurer's report for the month of December includes total receipts of $6,045,320 and total expenses of $5,558,842 for a net increase in all funds of $486,478. Any questions?
Madam Chair and members of the board, I respectfully request your approval of the treasurer's report as presented us tonight by Cindy Cloutier.
Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Hearing none, I look for a motion to approve the financial statement as listed.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Tracy. Do I hear a second? I'll second that. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to paid warrants.
Paid warrant report covers the period of December 18th through January the 22nd and includes total paid warrants of $3,182,876.35. Any questions on the paid warrants?
Madam Chair, members of the board, I respectfully request your approval of the paid warrant reports as presented tonight by Cindy Cloutier.
Look for a motion to approve the paid warrant report as listed.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. Second. Thank you, Ms. Tracy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Be it known that we have received personnel actions. No action is taken on that. And our last item.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Oh my gosh, she got ahead of him. All right. Do I hear a second?
I think she's trying to beat me up down
I think she is too, and I think she got the better of you. She got the better of you today. You gonna second that? Oh, Wes seconded. He got ahead of you. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
It's all against Mike Waller tonight.